Yo, what's up everybody? Julius here, bringing you Black Clover anime review. This is episode 93, titled Julius Novachrono. Of course, this is a Julius-based episode. Sadly, as you see in the thumbnail, you'll probably guessed it, and spoiler alert if you have not seen the episode. This is the episode where Julius... I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. This is the episode technically where he dies. They don't really show him dead, they just show him drop to the floor. But you have to imagine that he's dead, since this episode was basically nothing but flashbacks of Julius. And we know in anime, when a character getting a whole episode for himself of flashbacks, it's usually going to lead to one of two things. Either somehow he evolves and gets stronger, or for plot progression of the story, or he dies. So, and in this case, yes, Julius sadly does bite the dust. It kind of reminds me of one of my number one favorite character, I guess, no, number 3 favorite character from Naruto, Gaara. If you remember, Gaara died because Dodora had placed a whole bunch of bombs over the city to drop them, and Gaara stopped them with his sand. But because he had to use so much of his sand to stop the bombs, he couldn't stop the other bomb that was headed towards him. And that knocked them unconscious, and they was able to capture Gaara. Well, something similar happened to Julius. Lich saw that he couldn't defeat Julius. No matter what he did, Julius had him cornered. And on top of that, we also found out that tremendously Julius was holding back because he didn't want to damage the body of William. So he was trying to capture Lich. But since Lich uses light magic and he's extremely quick, he was kind of having trouble trying to catch him without hurting him. So this brings up the debate: if Julius was going for the kill and not going for the capture, would he have been able to beat him before he died? Before he used that weird Swords of Forbidden Light spell that I like to call it. Would he have won? In my opinion, I believe if Julius was going for the kill and not the capture, Lich would have never had the chance to use that spell, and he would have got offed easily. But thanks to plot progression and the fact that he had that body of William, someone who's very close to Julius, he was able to catch him. And it's extremely unfortunate and unfair, but it is what it is. It's extremely sad that he got caught that way. That's usually the number one way a lot of people in anime get caught. If they don't die by poison or betrayed by a friend, they get caught by trying to protect somebody else, and they lose themselves. Perfect example, another great anime I'm gonna use, One Piece. Shanks lost an arm to a Sea King that he could easily one-shot by looking at it, but for some odd reason he still lost the arm. I know people have the iffy plot reasons for that and why they hate it and why some people think it makes sense, but I mean, we see that a lot in anime, that powerful characters will usually risk themselves to save others and always end up getting really badly hurt or dying. So, but it was pretty awesome to see that Swords of Forbidden Light spell from Lynch. It covered the whole kingdom, and Julius had used reverse magic, status chronos, and he had neutralized everything. And even though the lights were neutralized and disappearing, everybody was looking up, and the lights was right above their heads, about to hit them in the face, because they all was raining down. So it was really OP to see Julius being able to stop that. Sadly, that was all his magic, so he couldn't defend himself. But it's also nice to say that Julius can actually see into the future. I forgot to mention that in my last review, and it was also stated in this episode. Thanks to his time magic and how he can gather time from every living thing around him, he can also read the time flow, so he can see what's going to happen in the future and kind of dodge and weave. That's how he was able to dodge so many attacks of Lynch, even though his attacks are light speed based, you know. But we also got a very interesting backstory. Like I said, this is all about Julius. We found out that Julius in his past, he hated to see how the royals treated the commoners or peasants, as they called them, and how they treated them real bad and like dirt. And we found out the person that made Julius want to change and become who the person he is today is actually Zora's dad. He actually met him in the past, and they actually kind of became friends, and if I'm not mistaken, I believe they were both part of the same squad, the Purple Orca, before Julius became Wizard King and, you know, stuff like that. But yeah, it was actually Zora's dad, Zora, who actually inspired William to, not William, Lich, I keep saying William and Lich, Julius to be the person that he is. He wanted to gain the more of everybody. He wanted to change the kingdom. He wanted the peasants and the commoners, the commoner peasants and the royals and nobilities to all get along, regardless of whatever rank and group, regardless if you have magic or not, to all be on the same playing field, you know what I'm saying? He said it himself, magic is just like humans. They have infinite possibilities that they can do as long as they're willing to try it. So he wanted to push humanity farther. He kind of reminds me of, from Hunter x Hunter, my favorite anime, Netero had so much faith in humans, and he wanted to build a Hunter Association, not just for fame and glory, but to build up the people and get them closer together and stuff like that. That was technically the same as Julius, just more on a political scale. You know, he is a figurehead politically as well. But that was a very nice callback. We also get the callback when Zora is running from his dad's grave after overhearing those guys talk, you know, what they said about his dad, about how they had to kill him because he was a knowing peasant. And he actually bumps into the Wizard King, who had a bunch of flowers going to the grave. And the Wizard King noticed, he was like, "Aren't you?" But he didn't get to stop to talk to him because Zora he felt so sad and what happened to his dad, he just left. And then we see the Wizard King put the flowers on the grave and does the salute thing. And then a couple of days later, there was actually rumors all over the capital that this was actually a setup. That Zora's dad actually died not in battle, but he died because he got betrayed and attacked from behind by one of his lieutenants. And we saw Julius got really, really, really angry. And this is what really lit the flame under him to be like, you know what? Things has to change. The warriors can't keep picking on the peasants and offering them just like they flies on the wall. This must change. So seeing Julius' backstory and seeing how it connects with Zora and his dad, and seeing how he went from a person who didn't know what his purpose in life was to finding out, this is going to be my purpose. This is what I'm going to use my magic for. And another great thing that we found out about Julius is his grimoire. A lot of people was asking, where's his grimoire? He's fighting without using his grimoire. Well, his grimoire is very special. His grimoire is a floating book of pages that has no clover. It's cloverless. So just like Asta, he's on that special tier of a unique book. Because remember, it was supposed to be just 1 through 4. That's not supposed to be a 5 or higher or anything less than 1. But we see that Asta has a grimoire that's a 5-leaf, and we see that the Wizard King has a grimoire that has no clover at all, no leaves. So both of them are very, very special cases. And you know, Lich himself stated, "You must be a blessing from this word to try to stop us elves from reincarnating." But I'm not going to allow that to happen. And sadly, you know, we humans, we lost, you know, and the elves, I guess Lich, you could say, technically won. He was able to strike down Julius, which is extremely sad and unfortunate. But we got Yami. He actually ends up appearing exactly when the body of Julius falls to the ground, and he sees this, and you know, he sees like the sword in his stomach and how he just tips over and falls to the ground. And we see a side of Yami that we never seen before. We've seen a side of shockness. You know, Yami's one of those characters that he's kind of like Kakashi from Naruto. He's always laid back and he does what he wants, and he got that cool demeanor and like nothing really fazed him. But this time, this actually fazed him. And we saw in the end that he took out his sword, and it has like this black dark aura on it, but like more darker than usual. And he's like, it's wild. And he's like, "Vigilance, what the heck have you done?" And that's how the episode ends. And again, this was a really great episode. I guess next week we're gonna have Lich versus Yami. That's going to be exciting. Can't wait for that. Another thing I cannot wait for is what is the other captains and members of the Royal Knights who are not here? What are they gonna feel and think when they find out that Julius is dead? But yeah, this was a really great episode. Emotional in the end. R.I.P. Julius, best Black Clover character, hands down. Him and Yami are like the best well-written characters and Black Clover. I'm not saying that they're not no other good ones, because they are, but those are like the two top ones that, if you had to think off the bat, those two would like pop in your head. And it's very unfortunate what happens. And before I end this video, I also wanted to give a shout out to two characters who a lot of us manga readers and anime viewers overlook, but they're kind of important, especially in the beginning of this episode. One, the assistant of the Wizard King, Mark. He played a really, really big role in this episode, because thanks to him, his squad was freaking out when they saw Julius fighting, but he decided to take charge and was like, look guys, we are the Wizard Kings / Captain Julius members. We can't be fearful. We have to tell the other captains, spread out the perimeter and, set up a good defense just in case whatever their Midnight Sun leader is planning. And, he took charge, and everybody who was scared and shooken from this attack was able to wake up and do their jobs perfectly, because Max took charge and was able to guide them. And, a lot of us don't really give Max the props that he deserves for being the person that he is. Because you gotta think about it, he's the Wizard King right-hand man. Wherever the Wizard King needs help in or assistance in, Mark is the person to handle that. So, and seeing him there and seeing him do his job and seeing that he does care for the kingdom, regardless if you're a peasant or not, another trick that he picked up from Julius, and so does the rest of the squad, that just shows how loved Julius was. And another person who deserves props as well for the same thing is Leo. Leo, his squad was shaken because Captain Miralagonia, who took over after her brother Fergolian, she's not here. She's the leader of the Royal Knights, and she had to leave on her mission, and he had to take charge. And he said the same thing similar to Mark, and he was like, guys, for the pride of our Crimson Lions, we gotta stay strong, we gotta step up for now, and we have to wait for anything that takes place, and we gotta go move forward. So it was nice seeing these two characters development, see how they progress further into the story, and seeing how they be used. Like I said before, I don't believe Mark and Leo, I don't believe they get enough praise for their character development and the things that they have done so far in the story. I mean, they're both very important characters. Leo is a second rival to Asta / friend, a royal friend at that he met, one of vulnerability. And then Mark, he is vulnerability as well, and he's also the assistant of the Wizard King, a very important person as well. Just like how we have here in the States a president and a vice president, we have Julius Wizard King, and then his, I guess you could say, Princess Wizard King, which would be Mark. But that's all I have for you guys. Let me know how you feel down below about this episode. Did you like it? Did you hate it? Again, R.I.P. Julius. Talking about William, would William ever come back? Would he ever be normal? Or is Lynch going to stay in control now that he has the two final stones? And what are they going to do with those two stones and the other stone they collected? That's another thing. They ain't really specifying on that. On what happened when he collected all the stones and put them in those tablets they had earlier. But that's all I have for you guys. Peace out. Have a good one.